Hello, I'm Ashley, the engineer at Andover Norton, and one of the bikes we see the most seizures on is the 650 SS. Now there's a good reason why we see the seizures on that. It's because no one on this planet makes a piston for the 650 SS. In fact, you will see them advertised. In fact, we do it ourselves. It's a 600 piston, but the 600 piston has a different size pin than the 650 SS had. There is differences. The worst thing about this is that you can actually get the later pin in, you can get the earlier pin, the larger pin from the 600 piston into the small end of the later con rod. But that doesn't mean it's correct. I can demonstrate that here. This here is a 600cc piston gudgeon pin. This is a 650 SS 750 Commando con rod. That pin goes in and it feels good. Yeah, there are, if you rotate it and slide it again, there are tight spots, so the clearance is too close, but it does go in, and this is where people get caught out. The early engines with the small end that had a bush in it used a different size gudgeon pin. It's larger in diameter. It's 11/16. The later 650 SS, 750 and the Commando use a gudgeon pin which is slightly smaller. Yeah, the plain small end uses the smaller diameter gudgeon pin. The bushed small end uses the larger diameter gudgeon pin. Now in the early books for the manual, the manuals for the actual 650 SS and the Dominators, it says ream the bush until you get a nice sliding fit. We don't know, and I don't really know, it must be just a case of the actual dynamic of the material and how it operates under heat, but logic would suggest if less clearance in this, it would seize sooner, but it doesn't. When they moved over to the plain small end, they had to reduce the overall outside diameter of the gudgeon pin. They must have known they had seizure problems back in the early 60s when they went across, because common sense suggests if you're using the same size reamed bush, then you just normally fit the standard pin that they use for the 500 and 600. Job done. But they didn't. For some unknown reason, they reduced the diameter of the later gudgeon pin. We will get close-ups of this here in a minute to see the differences. I've put the figures in as well, so you get to see the figures on this, because it is critical you get this right to save yourself a seizure. And the seizure is evident by hot spots fore and aft on the piston either side of the gudgeon pin holes, not where you'd expect to see the damage on the skirt. The other thing as well with a gudgeon pin, when you get these, it is critical, it's a sliding fit. So this one here is actually a sliding fit, but I wouldn't use it. It's just not enough clearance there. I don't know what it is. I'd need to measure it. Now, the thing being, if you go too loose, what can happen is the pin can rotate in relation to the hole. Now, what will make that worse is the fact that if you've just had a reed bore, just had it nicely honed, and you're then getting piston in part movement, slight rotational movement to that gudgeon pin, guess where your rod's going to foul? This is going to rip straight off the top. Yeah, and that would normally indicate that something wasn't right, and 9 times out of 10 it's a worn small end. The other problem you get with these is when you fit them to the piston, don't use any old gudgeon pin, any old piston and any old gudgeon pin circlips. The grooves in the piston are to suit a certain type of circlip, as is this finished edge on a gudgeon pin. If you get it wrong, you can either end up pushing the circlip out, causing a lot of damage, or damaging the actual end of the actual pin where it sits in the groove, near the groove, and damaging the groove. Some people will actually find this damage or the circlip partially come away when they do an engine strip, Some people actually find out it's come right out, gone up and down, scored everything, and most probably been spat out the exhaust port. We will get some close-ups of these. If you've got any queries or you need to know the differences between the parts, always get in touch with us and we will let you know. We would rather let you know that you fitted a set of 600 pistons to a 650 SS correctly, rather than just guess it, because you'll end up with a seizure. If you need the help, you can contact me via email or via telephone anytime during the working day, where I'll be able to answer your questions. Thank you very much.